Welcome to Displacer Geeks. My name is Brian,
And I'm Hudson. We're two geeks talking about the geek.
and today we are going to talk about MTG, or some might call it Magic the Gathering.
Woo! Man, that
It
game's old.
is super old. In fact, let's talk about how old it is.
I'm gonna have to Google that.
Well, first,
When?
first off, let's talk about our experience playing. So, I have played Magic the Gathering on and off for the last 30 years, probably. But when I first started playing these collectible trading card games, I got way into Spellfire, which does not exist. It only existed for a few years. That's how old this game is, because that was the competition. I got into that really heavily, and then I dabbled in Magic the Gathering after that. But
Right.
I know you're playing right now, which is awesome. And how long have you played for, Hudson?
I for sure started playing in high school, so like 95, 96.
Oh yeah, yep. Okay,
Uh,
so we're at the
I
same. Yep,
yeah, I looked it up. It started in 93. That would have been
93.
first edition when they had all sorts of broken stuff, including the infamous Black Lotus.
That's right. $10,000 card, something like that.
Yeah.
For those of you who do not know, or you're just getting into Magic the Gathering, it is a card game, competitive card game. It's a trading card game, so a lot of the times you buy random packs and you try to get cards that you want, and then you duke it out playing land, which kind of acts as your mana, your spells, and then you can put out creatures, and you're duking it out.
Yep.
Extremely fun game. I love Magic the Gathering. I have played similar games a lot lately, like Hearthstone is a variation of Magic the Gathering, and there's many, many more. But if you've played Hearthstone, then you could easily pick up Magic the Gathering and be rocking and rolling. But you build combos up. It's all about heavy hits and sneaking around things and controlling your opponents. I
Yep.
love that type of stuff. Is there anything you think I missed there, Hudson?
No, but I want to give an honorable mention to Legend of the Five Rings. As also as another card game that's same vein.
Oh,
Uh
okay.
they did what they call like living. So like whoever like won like a big tournament, like it would change the outcome of the next set.
That's super cool. I
Yep.
love it when companies do that. That's got to actually be really hard for the companies, by the way, because they can't plan too much ahead. Or maybe
Can't
they
bel-
plan it all ahead on different results, but I think that's fun. I think that's super
yeah.
cool.
So they definitely have had some odd results. This one guy won off like a mercenary deck or something out of the blue. Nobody's done it before or since.
Oh, I love it. That's cool.
But the next year, like that, it had some impacts on the game. It was interesting.
Awesome. Well, why don't we talk about real quick why we like the game so much? So I love building decks and making crazy combos. 100% love that. War Machine was the miniature game that I love a lot. That has Magic the Gathering written all over it. And also the artwork I love too.
Yep.
What do you think? Why do you like it so much, Hudson?
I think some of it's just hanging out with friends, but back in the day, I really enjoyed like trying to figure out all this stuff. Today, I'm like, I don't even I don't think I could build a good deck if I wanted to, because it's all about like you have to have so many cards at this mana value, so many cards, and like because you
Way
have that's way beyond way
way
more
more
involved.
way more complex than it used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I used to
I
have it
hear you.
down to a science. I'd be like, here's my 42 cards. I need this many lands.
Oh
That I
yeah.
could like I
Had
had it down.
had everything
Down.
memorized. Could easily memorize all that stuff back in the day. Totally.
And then also they like, oh my goodness, Brian,
My
what did
light's
you do?
going crazy. I don't know. Let's see. All right. I guess you get to
Uh,
see shiny forehead. That's okay.
it's okay.
Guess
Uh,
what? I have a big forehead.
they've done a lot of different formats with Magic the Gathering now too. So that also changes the game up quite a bit.
Yeah, the current format you're playing a lot is Commander, right?
Right, which is also called Elder Dragon Highlander, which is the
Okay.
original format. The purpose behind it was like you played like some sort of elder dragon, what now is called the commander,
All right.
and you can only have one of each card except for basic lands.
That's cool.
Somewhere along the way, Wizards of the Coast figured out that people were playing this format a lot, and then they stepped in, and that's when it became commander. The biggest difference between Commander and EDH is you don't have to have an Elder Dragon, right?
Gotcha.
My last Commander deck has a Raccoon Bard.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Uh,
Nice. For people that don't know, even though I'm sure a lot of people watching this would already know, but if you want to buy into Magic, you do have to make sure that you don't get super addicted because you can blow money in about 2 seconds on Magic because you're buying a lot of random things, hoping to get the good cards. If you're trying to play competitively, unfortunately, you need
yeah,
a lot of the good cards.
yeah.
So keep
So,
that in mind. But
yep,
Commander helps with that, right?
to a little bit of degree, right? So if you have a bunch of people that are willing to play like pre-cons or like that level, you can buy a pre-con and go in and play the game and have a good time.
Hey,
If they're
real quick, is pre-con mean pre-constructed deck?
It does mean pre-constructed. Like
Perfect.
it's got everything you need. You just got
Hmm.
to play it. Now it's going to have some cards in there that are not ideal.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
But those
I've
are
read,
pretty fun. And do you feel like they're pretty well balanced for the most part if everybody just buys the pre-constructed deck and plays?
yes, there are some pre-constructed decks that are more powerful than others.
Okay.
Uh, but usually you can figure that out because they cost more, actually.
Oh, really? Weird.
Well, they
Weird.
have you get more like I bought a $90 deck, which is that's towards the top end, and that deck now goes for 125, I guess.
Oh,
But
okay.
it was dropping cards. You could piece the cards out and get more than the that money back.
Oh, yeah, I hear you. Okay. Now, if I'm buying one of the cheaper commander decks right now, what would that cost?
I think they have cheap ones starting as low as 25. Don't quote me on that one, but they
Oh,
also have
okay.
some that are 45.
Okay.
60 is kind of like the normal.
$60, you can buy a deck, get your buddies to buy a $60 deck, and you can have fun. That's actually pretty cool. And to be honest, that's not very expensive overall. Like
You know,
that not very expensive. And playing with your friends is a lot of fun. The tournament scene, I will say, is a huge deal. It still is to this day. And you can definitely run into some very competitive, not so nice people on the tournament scene. I don't think that's changed one bit. So just be careful when you're going to a tournament that you will see people that are cutthroat and want to wipe you out because they want to win a tournament. But
yeah,
hopefully they're all pretty cool about it though. So I feel like any super competitive tournament scene, you're going to run into people that are not the nicest people in the world.
yeah.
So I don't think it's super different than other games by any means. It highlighted me when I said that too. So maybe I'm not the nicest. I'm not the nicest tournament player, I guess. I don't know, but just keep that in mind. Here we have a booming game store called Mayhem Comics. If you're ever in the Des Moines area, check it out. The owners are great. We love them to death. And they do Friday Night Magic, and they have a huge game room. And boy, Friday Night Magic is the thing. It is
It is a
packed
thing.
in there. Yeah, it is packed in there.
For the record, Brian, Friday Night Magic is actually Wizards of the Coast.
Oh, is it? That's awesome.
Yeah,
Very
so
cool.
it is like an official Wizards of the Coast thing, and that's part of the Friday Night Magic was actually at that Gen Con when I got that one Bloomborough deck with the raccoon.
Nice. That's cool. What great marketing, by the way. How smart is that, you know?
Yeah,
Speaking of Gen Con, you can see used to be able to see a lot of Magic the Gathering artists there. I think you still can, and they'll sign your cards and stuff. It's very cool. But
yep,
yeah, that's really neat. That's really neat. I was just gonna say there are digital versions of Magic the Gathering you could play online.
yep.
And there are huge pros to that, by the way, because I played Hearthstone for 5 years or more. I love
Hmm.
that game. I just had to take it off my phone because I was spending too much time on it. But really nice thing about playing a digital version, in my opinion, is that you can't get anything wrong. It does all the math and calculations and keeps track of everything for you. So that is super sweet. But
Yep,
I love playing in person over anything else. I like hanging out with my friends in person. So that is a huge
yeah.
draw for me. But
The one thing I do remember about both Hearthstone and Magic the Gathering Arena, which is What I remember about that is like you're kind of limited to like emojis. A lot of times you can't even do like text to type because
Oh yeah,
they're trying to keep people like from just being super angry, toxic.
internet monsters,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah, I've played some other games where people did that and they still find a way to be like obnoxious. I'm like, seriously?
Yeah.
Uh, but that being said, like it does, you're right, it does do like all the math for you. It's guaranteed to be right. One thing I didn't like about Arena is that if you had a card that technically could pop, look, they have different spell types, right? So the one spell type is called an instance. You can kind of see it there on the empty the pits in the background there. Uh, yep, that it's called an instance. So anytime that spell could, regardless if you had the mana or not, could be cast, it would pause the game and ask if you wanted priority. And the other player would see that. So they knew you had something.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of a bummer.
You could turn it on and off, but I don't remember it being like super quick. So
Yeah,
like you couldn't be like turn it off here, wait for it to come up here so you can like I don't want to say got you, but like like don't like reveal that you have something right away.
yeah. And just if you are not used to Magic the Gathering, there's definitely lots of got you moments because games where you can wombo combo stuff ends in a lot of gotchas.
Yeah.
So even tournament players and stuff will win because they saw something that the other tournament player did not, and they get them, which
Yep.
to me is part of the major fun of it all.
So I'll give you a perfect example of this, right? So we're playing a game and somebody has a card out that says if you don't sacrifice something this round, you have to take damage. I had a card that said tap and sacrifice it, go find a basic land of a different type or whatever. And I could have used that to stop that damage. I wasn't even thinking about it past turn. And then the next guy waited until I passed turn. Like he wasn't gonna like help me, but he was like, hey, you could have done that, by the way.
Mm,
Like
gotcha.
so like I learned a little bit, but like at the same time, like he was just like, I don't really want to help you too much at this moment.
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to win, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that as long as you're a good sport overall. You got to be a good winner and a good loser. Both are very
Yeah.
important.
Mhm. I didn't have any problems with the way he handled it for the record. Like I thought it
Yeah.
was very, very professional and I thought it was very fair. Like I legitimately missed it. And then he was like, hey, by the way, you could have done that.
Well, what else you got for Magic? I think the game's great. Personally, I stay away from it because I have an addictive personality and I just feel like I would spend too much money on it. So
Sure. So you want to come this Sunday over to this other game store and we'll give you a deck to get you hooked in.
there you go. Yeah, I mean, the commander thing is actually very intriguing because just buying a deck, trying it out, and then swapping it for a different deck or buying one other one and have some options, that's pretty fun. I'm
Yeah.
glowing again. Look at
Oh
that.
yeah, these guys are very good. Like they even have like competitive decks. They don't own the cards per se, so they do a lot of like proxy cards.
Oh, okay.
Depends on the tournament format on how much you can proxy because some of these cards cost a lot. But for like just some friends sitting around trying out stuff, like a proxy deck's completely legit.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, yeah, these some of these decks are so expensive because the cards are so rare that at a tournament they will have legal proxies. So they're playing with a card that looks like the card, and it is totally fine because the other cards
Thousands
are
of dollars.
locked up in a safe somewhere and never going to be used because they need them to be in perfect shape.
Yeah.
And I
Also,
don't blame them.
card sleeves is a big deal that they often do. I would strongly encourage you to get them because nothing else, you help protect your cards.
Yeah.
Uh, and sometimes you can find something with a fun background.
Oh yeah, for sure. You can customize your like the way your deck looks, which is super cool. So I agree. I agree. And they
Uh,
are the ones I saw recently are so darn thin that they are fantastic.
yeah,
In Magic, can you still have as many cards as you want in a deck
depends on
in
the
the
format.
standard format?
In the standard, I think you want to limit yourself, but yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Commander has to be 100.
Commander has to be 100. That's cool.
So
Nice.
Again,
Nice.
like we're going back to the format, but commander is going to be 100%. It's going to be 100, and one of them is going to be your commander, and then the other 99 are kind of
Yeah.
up to you, but usually it's going to be something that works around the commander.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you have anything else to add about Magic the Gathering before we call it?
It's a good time. Make sure you play with people you enjoy playing with, because I mean, I
Yeah.
guess that goes with any game. If you're not having fun, what's the point?
Yeah, exactly. And then if you do hear about like, oh, that it's a game store crack, well, you could actually just get into the Commander version of it and just buy a pre-constructed deck and do it that way too. Or if you don't have a lot of money, that's one way to do it too. Maybe find some used copies or anything
Yep.
like that.
So yeah, the another thing that another couple of formats are kind of popular for the tournaments. They call it sealed. Like you get 5 packs, and then you like build a deck out of that.
Oh yeah, that's another way you could do it too. That's true.
Yeah, so it
Evens
kind of
the
like,
playing field a little bit. I mean,
but
somebody might get a broken card out of it, but that's okay.
and
Like
then
it
there's another
happens.
thing that's called drafting, which is I think you get in a pod, you pass to the left, you pass to the right, but you're constantly trying to draw cards, and it becomes a very, very different game because
Yeah,
you're like trying to like figure out like what people are drawing
oh
to
yeah.
maybe because they're getting into something powerful and you want to stop it. Maybe you don't
Yeah,
draw
and
those, you know.
drafting tournaments like that too are hard because you have to hope whatever theme you're going for, you get other stuff, or you might be super broad and you might not get what you need. And yeah,
Yeah,
it gets tricky really quick.
yeah,
I used to do that with Mage Knight miniatures many, many years ago, some drafting stuff and that. But awesome, awesome.
yeah.
Well, thanks for listening to this episode. Please like and subscribe so you can see more of my randomly glowing face. And we
It's
will
almost like
talk.
you got a ring cam like right there.
I don't. I do not. I do have one, but I just don't have it on.
Maybe you should swap. Maybe next video swap those
You'll
lights.
see the rings in my glasses. That's the only
You
reason
know
I.
what? You know what? It's probably it's got to be better than that forehead though.
Oh, I don't know why my forehead's okay. Anyways, like and subscribe. We will, if you do that, we will continue to talk nerdy talk about tabletop games, and we cannot wait to see you follow, see comments. We would love to respond to many comments, and you have an awesome rest of the day.
Peace.